League fans, this is Steve Mascord coming to you from our studios in London, and it is August 6th. There's only 1 day left till the footy starts again. Melbourne and Brisbane are meeting in the NRL, and it's Lee at home to Leeds in Super League, and there's, as usual, a fair bit going on. We had Ivan Cleary, the Penrith coach, a short time ago, host a media conference and say that the trainer there, Corey Bocking, who'd been suspended until the finals, and the club had been fined $50,000 for running in front of Jaden Campbell from Gold Coast when he was lining up a kick, that he was struggling a little bit, Bocking, mentally, and his family was struggling with the attention, and that Ivan Cleary said, well, there's no justice system in the world which behaves like this and imposes penalties like this. So maybe Corey Bocking is copping it for all the trainers over the last decade who have annoyed fans by being on the field too long, even though in 99% of cases they weren't breaking any rules. So I actually do feel a little bit sorry for him. So coming up on the program today, we're going to hear from three people. We're going to hear from St Helens coach Paul Wellens. They are away to Wakey on Friday night. We're going to hear from Wigan coach Matty Peet. They are away to Warrington on Friday night. And also we're going to hear from Tyler Dupree, the prop for Wigan. And some news overnight regarding their opponents. Warrington, with Matt Duffy dropped for being late to training. Not considered for selection this week. We always go through the birthdays here, and there's some illustrious people who are celebrating their birthday today. None more illustrious than Sir Billy Boston, who turns 91 today. Born in 1934. How about that? Stan Cutler, who you would remember if you're of my vintage and you collected footy cards. The Canterbury player, 73 today. Happy birthday. And his clubmate, Mark Hughes, 71 today. Happy birthday, Mark. Had a bit to do with him back in the day when he was a recruitment guy at the Bulldogs. Here's another guy I had a lot to do with, David New, who was one of the driving forces behind rugby league in the USA and puts on a great party in Vegas every year. Thanks for inviting us this year. David, still got the cap. Thought I lost it, but it's still there. Sean Garlick, Garlo's Pies, and a child star. Played hooker for South Sydney and Eastern Suburbs, doing very well in his retirement from rugby league. Same age as me, 56. And it's his birthday today. Thank you very much. Troy Slattery, big tough forward for the South Sydney Rabbitohs, 52 today. Adam Ritson, who was a key figure in the Super League war and was seriously ill and has bounced back. And he came. I don't want to be one of these people who makes it all about themselves, but he did come to my book launch, so thank you, Adam Ritson. Sean Timmins, one of my favourite players, kicked a winning field goal in a state of origin, played for Australia, New South Wales, and of course the mighty Illawarra Steelers, 49 today. And we've got to speed this up. It's great. Adam Clune, who we spoke to pre-season on this very show, plays for Huddersfield, and he is 30 today. Another fellow we spoke to pre-season, Oliver Gildart, 29 today. Happy birthday to Oliver Gildart. And a man who played very close to here, Luke Pacelli from the London Broncos, who had a good win at the weekend. Luke Pacelli, he is a tender, young 27 today. When I say tender, I'm not talking about him in terms of cannibalism or anything like that. But he's very young compared to those other guys we just spoke about, isn't he? So we're going to hear from those three leading Super League figures over the rest of the hour, and if there's any other news to touch on, we'll be back to do that as well. Tonight, to play a match we'll be broadcasting here on rugbyleague.com. It's Warrington v Wigan, 8 o'clock local time kickoff. And the coach of the Warriors, Matty Peet, he was playing his cards close to his chest in terms of the makeup of his side when he did his midweek media conference. But he did give a straight answer when it came to the availability of speedster Jay Field, who came off with an HIA in the shock loss to Hull 3 weeks ago.
Yeah. Oh, it's a boost for Jay, for us to have Jay. But I really do feel it's about a collective performance moving forward. The individuals will have their moments when it happens, but we've got to find a more consistent level of team performance.
Wigan forward Tyler Dupree made his debut for England in 2023, but he hasn't had a look in since and isn't in Sean Wayne's England squad for the Ashes. As we build up to Friday night's broadcast match, it's Wigan against Warrington from the Halliwell Jones Stadium. I asked young Tyler about his representative ambitions.
Yeah, I think like everyone at the beginning of the year, I sort of set myself a couple of goals that I wanted to achieve within my rugby career, especially this year. And obviously playing international level is on there. Obviously, I've not been selected at this moment in time, and I'm not giving up on being selected at some point. But I think I need to focus more on my playing time at Wigan and keep working hard and doing the little things away from training. And just getting everything right, and then hopefully I'll give Wayne a little bit of an headache, and maybe be in the shop window. But like I said, I'm just focusing on playing well for Wigan at the minute and trying to prove myself here more. Yeah, anything can happen in 3 months, can't it? Does the England camp give players feedback on what they've got to do, what they need to improve on, or do you have an ongoing dialogue with them, or is it just only if you get picked you have a dialogue? How does it work? I think at the minute they've been doing like meetings amongst themselves, amongst the team that's been named. But I'm quite a confident person, and I don't mind going up to Wayne and asking him what he's looking for and what I can do better. So I've had a good chat with Wayne a couple months ago. And he's told me what he wants me to work on. So hopefully I'm doing that. And like I said, anything can happen in 3 months, but I'm just focusing on playing well for Wigan at the minute. Mate, I wouldn't be a journalist if I didn't ask a follow-up question there as to what he... Can you share anything he said to you? Yeah, he just said what we sort of already knew, really. He just wanted me to play the longer minutes, but play them effectively and, continue to be a handful in attack and go after it in defence. So, I'm not sort of ashamed to say that's what's been asked to work on, but, hopefully I'm doing that. It's not controversial to say that South Sydney import Lewis Dodd has struggled to live up to his price tag so far in the NRL. His former club coach at St Helens, Paul Wellens, he spoke about Dodd and the hurdles he's encountered in trying to start a new career in the Southern Hemisphere.
I haven't had any personal contact with Lewis. Obviously, it's been a challenging year for him, but, transition, down under, it can be that, I suppose. What I can say about Lewis is he's a brilliant lad. I know he'll be training really well, and he'll be, doing all he can to try and get opportunities and get consistent opportunities. For why he isn't in the team at times is not for my discussion. I just know him as a brilliant player, brilliant person.
With the split round in Super League, this was the first time Wigan coach Matty Peet had spoken publicly when he faced the media midweek ahead of Friday night's clash with Warrington, and that meant that he was definitely going to be asked about the decision to expand Super League from 12 teams to 14. His CEO, Chris Radlinski, had a few things to say about it in the previous 24 hours. Here's what Matty Peet said.
Without meaning to sound aloof, my focus isn't there. I've seen the headlines. I understand what's happening, but I haven't clicked on too many of them, and my focus is on my team.
It was also the first time Peet had faced the media since he was fined £1,000 for criticism of match officials after the game against Huddersfield. And he was asked if he'd be appealing the fine and what his thoughts were on the whole episode.
I'm not going to challenge it. I'm disappointed, and all I would say is listen to what I said. I weren't trying to be controversial. I wasn't trying to criticise anyone or question anyone's authority. I was trying to compliment my team and comment on the style of game that I watched, and I do try and conduct myself the right way and go through the right channels. And I've made mistakes in the past, I'll make mistakes again, but when I reflect on that, I heard Sam say something similar. Sometimes you need to be careful that we'll end up just not saying anything at all, because we're just trying to be honest and open without being too critical, and that's what I was trying to do. So if you can find the audio of it, feel free.
Wigan forward Tyler Dupree, he'll be in action on rugbyleague.com on Friday night against Warrington, with Jason Costigan calling all the action there. And aside from being an England international and one of the most talented young forwards in the Northern Hemisphere, Tyler does a lot of work with the homeless charity The Brick, which is a community centre situated not too far from the Brick Community Stadium, so named, which is Wigan's home ground. And he was asked at his midweek media commitment what led him and what motivated him to get involved with the charity.
Yeah, I've always sort of thought about how I can use like my profile to sort of help others and benefit others, and whether it be something small like share a post or be a bit bigger and going open. I think we opened a centre in Wigan not long ago. But yeah, I enjoy that time to give back. My mum gave everything to me, even though she didn't have it. So if I can do that for other people as well, you just get a nice sense of achievement, really. And I feel like it's a bit of a cliche to say, but I'm in a good position now, and I want to sort of share that with other people. To be fair, when we went a couple months ago to give some money, and I did get to speak to a lot of them, and they're all sort of in the same boat, and it's just one thing that's gone wrong for people. And for me coming off a council estate and stuff, I could have gone one way or the other, and it's just about the choices we make. And I just want people to see that it's never too late to make the right choice. And them going to the Brick there is proving that they're trying to get that help and trying to maybe change the choice that they did make. But yeah, I just think the Brick's a great initiative, and it's run really well, and it's something that the town of Wigan should be proud of.
St Helens travel to Wakefield in Super League on Friday night, and their coach Paul Wellens, he signed a 1-year contract extension a year ago, same time last year, and they were actually worse off than they are now on the table. They were 2 points further back than they are now, but there's no news on a further extension for Paul Wellens. His contract expires at the end of the year, and it's getting on a bit, isn't it? So he was asked at his weekly media conference what the status of his tenure with the club was.
Oh, it's not happened yet, no, but we've been in discussions, not one way or the other, just around obviously the future and what it could potentially look like. And I've got the utmost trust and faith in Mike and him and his people, and I know that's reciprocated. So all these conversations will be out moving forward, and when a decision has been made on where my future lies, or any contract situations, I'll be sure to let you know.
You are listening on rugbyleague.com. This is the time of the week where we have a chat to my good mate who lives on Sydney's northern beaches, Tony the Mole Adams. Tony, how are you? Lots happening in rugby league.
Yeah, Steve, all happening. We got trainers in trouble. We got teams fighting for the 8. We got the 4-time premiers getting fined $50,000, and the rain's finally stopped in Sydney, which is a good sign.
Good to hear. Now, what happened with up at Seabus Super Stadium is that the Penrith trainer, Corey Bocking, who we hadn't heard of until a couple of days ago, he ran in between Jaden Campbell and the goalpost. Jaden Campbell was going to take a sideline conversion for the Titans. I think it would have given them a 4-point lead. The game ended up going into Golden Point and Penrith won. So the penalty has been a $50,000 fine, I think, and a suspension for the trainer until the finals. Do you think that's fair enough, firstly?
Yeah, it's a tough one. I honestly think it was just a brain snap, a silly error. He was running up and down. He had messages, coming in his headphones. Jaden Campbell was right on the sideline, so might not have been in his line of view, but he ran right in front of him as he was setting up his shot at goal. Clearly put Campbell off. He missed the shot at goal. Penrith subsequently, Nathan Cleary kicked a marvellous 2-point field goal to tie the scores, and Penrith won in Golden Point. So if Jaden Campbell, in a perfect world, had kicked that goal, there would have been no 2-point field goal, and the Titans would have pulled off one of the upsets of the year. Titans fans naturally very upset, the league world in uproar, and the Panthers have been fined fairly heavily, and they've also been fined this $50,000 for a series of events involving trainers, probably the most infamous one, where the Penrith trainer was recently caught wetting the ball before a kickoff. So they've got a bit of a history there, Penrith, and they're paying the price now.
Yeah, that was Shane Elford, that other incident. But so, Tony, the line you've got, and you've spoken to one of the greatest goal kickers of all time, if not the greatest, Daryl Halligan, and he's got some advice for any goal kickers that in future might find themselves in that situation.
Yeah, and he said he was, like the rest of us, he was quite stunned by it all. But he said, in hindsight, if he was Jaden Campbell, what he would have done was just run in, take a wild stab at goal, and if it gets there, it gets there, and he's the hero, and they win the game. And if it misses, then the referee would, in all probability, have given him another shot. Now, the NRL rules, there's nothing in there that says that they can give him another shot, but I think had that happened, it wouldn't surprise me if the ref would have said, yeah, go ahead, take another shot, the guy was in the way. It's happened with kickoffs, and I'm sure there's no rule that covers that. You know, there's a guy out of position or not ready, or the referee's not ready and a player kicks it and they kick off again. It doesn't happen often, but, it's these anomalies in the rules that you just can't cover every outcome. And it was a fair point Daryl Halligan brought up, and I thought I'd just ring him because he was probably the greatest goal kicker this side of the equator of all time. So his views are pretty interesting.
Further to that discussion about Lewis Dodd, he has now been told by South Sydney that he's free to look elsewhere. So maybe he's headed back to the Super League. Maybe he's heading back this way. Also, further to yesterday's discussion about the Pacific Championships draw, I can tell you that the Pacific Bowl has now been announced. And October 18 at Santos Stadium in Port Moresby. In the women, it's PNG v Cook Islands. In the men, it's Fiji versus Cook Islands. On October 25 at the same venue, in the women, it's Tonga and Cook Islands. In the men, it's PNG and Cook Islands. And finally, on November 1, 2025, at Santos Stadium in Port Moresby, in the women, it is PNG versus Tonga. And in the men, it will be PNG v Fiji. Okay, if you are listening on the podcast, this show is a radio show. It's on rugbyleague.com, a 24-hour rugby league radio station. Turn it on any time of the day or night. You'll hear a bit of classic rock and you'll hear a lot of rugby league. If you are listening on... Also, if you're listening on the podcast, before I finish with that bit, also on the podcast, you can support the show by going to patreon.com/White Line Fever. You get to hear the episodes first. And there's some other stuff going up there as well. If you're listening on the radio station, this is also a podcast, and you can find it if you miss any show by looking up White Line Fever Kicks or WLF Kicks on your favourite podcast platform. Thanks for joining us. We'll be back tomorrow.